and welcome to the Nerd Age Podcast. This is a show we talk about everything nerdy. My name is Jonah. I'm here with Corey, Josh,
what's up?
And Mick.
Hey.
Full crew today. We're going to jump right into talking Rings of Power Season 2 finale.
We're a little late on it.
We're a little late on it.
That's okay.
And I think we didn't talk about the episode before either, so we've got just the final two episodes, 7 and 8, to talk about.
Well,
but spoilers ahead. If you haven't watched it, what are you doing? You should be watching it. It's a great show. We enjoy it for the most part, I think, more than other people do. But yeah, we're just going to talk about it. Spoilers ahead. Rapid fire. Go for it. Whoever wants to go, start us off.
Well, I say Mick hasn't talked at all about Rings of Power. I say he starts just...
I tried to be here last
word
time.
vomit.
It
Yeah,
didn't
that's
work.
true.
Yeah, you were here.
What have you thought about the season so far, Mick? Since
I
you
think
haven't?
overall the season has been really good. There's honestly just been a few handful of things that I thought they could have done without, but I think it's better than the first season, and the fact that it seemed a little more narrowed in on certain plots.
Yeah.
I think there was probably about the same amount of characters, but there was clear some of the characters didn't have quite as much to do in this season, and they would pop up every once in a while. I'm like, oh yeah, he's still hanging around. He's running in the forest or doing something
like a Sildor. Like they cut that whole human storyline, and he's there a little bit. With what's his face, not Troy. What's his name?
Theo.
Troy.
Troy's a cool name.
Get your head in the game.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, I think by far the strongest part of the season was Sauron and Celebrimbor.
Yeah.
That was just so compelling to me. It was done really well. Both of them acted, I think, incredibly well. They had such a good dynamic with each other. You really believed just how deceptive Sauron was, and just him messing with his mind.
How smart he is.
Just for that, I don't know, 6 episodes or whatever he was there for, with him was just, it was sad and creepy and just, it was like a train wreck. You just couldn't look away kind of thing. But, that was definitely the highlight of the season.
I like that moment where he's like, look at the mouse. He's on a loop. Like, that's how he figures out that he's like, he'll come out and do the same thing. It's a loop.
Dude, it literally, he was in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
Well, I like how because I saw him mark the candle and I was like, what did he do that for? I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So the candle doesn't burn.
At first I thought,
instantly knew. I was like,
smarter than me, dude.
At first I thought the mouse was gonna trying to tell him something.
Yeah.
What?
That would have been way better, dude.
You never know.
Get out of here. We gotta get out of here.
He follows him. He's wrote down a piece of paper in mouse talk. He's like,
see, if it was a Disney production, then that would have happened. He would have sang a little tune.
Cinderella.
I really loved the whole Elrond Durin relationship in the first season. I feel like there was hardly any of that in this season, which was kind of a bummer because I think that was one of the big highlights of season 1. But everything with Durin Senior, is he the 5th or the 6th? I can't remember. But Old Man Durin, with him being corrupted by the ring, I think was done well. And just seeing the pain and suffering that it was causing his son, I think it was great. You really saw the pain in his trying to deal with seeing what his father was going through and just pleading with him, just, I don't want to fight you. I might have to, but I don't want to, kind of thing. I just think that was great.
yeah, the shot of him going up against the Balrog.
Holy
was
crap.
sick.
That was awesome.
That was a sick shot.
The
Durin's Bane.
The first thing I saw, and I think it's pretty common with the show, is just obviously just seeing hate right away. And there was hate for that scene, and I'm just thinking that was one of the best, not only visual scenes, because it was that's like a painting. That's just such a cool shot. But also just, I thought it was pretty well done emotionally, because it's him realizing that the ring had been corrupting him for this, I guess, a while. That's the one knock of the season that I don't think that. Yeah, I think we talked about it. They don't give you really a lot of good detail on how long time passes. But I do think that they did the ring corruption well, because he clearly got very greedy and just wanted to dig and didn't care about anybody else. But
yeah, that is interesting. There is an aspect where it's like, oh, this character traveled all the way there.
Right.
And then, oh, they're back at it. So you're supposed to think, oh, it took them time. But in those moments, you're not really thinking, because you're just like, oh, one scene they're there, one scene they're not. Or like all the dwarves come,
it's like, how far away is it from
right.
Where is it?
Erebor yeah. So I just feel like those are kind of things that, they didn't do a very good job of like showing you that, because even the same thing with like the annoying son.
Oh my gosh,
Farazan's son.
Oh, Kemen.
So he's on
Numenor,
and then he shows up there, and you're like, oh, it just happened like that. But no, there's supposed to be time passage.
By the way, on the top 10 list is one of the most like aggravating characters. Like, he does it really well,
right?
Like, he plays that part well, but you just want to see like some comeuppance for him. We definitely he's just like,
we need a good death. We need a good death.
Oh my gosh.
I think the Eagles need to pluck his eyes out.
Just how slimy he got was just so aggravating.
What did you guys think of the Galadriel kind of Sauron final battle, that kind of stuff? Did that work for you? Did it seem like it was anticlimactic, or was it like the final episode as far as that kind of stuff goes? Because I feel like we got like 2 episodes of orcs attacking and all that kind of stuff, and the Sauron and Celebrimbor stuff was really well done. And then I do kind of feel like the Galadriel stuff was not as good. But what were your guys' thoughts? Did it deliver, or?
I think it was fine for me. Like, I think like Mick said, the best part of the show was the Sauron Celebrimbor stuff. And I feel like Galadriel almost was kind of like a secondary character this season. Which I think she still had like a story arc of like, she's still dealing with like kind of the shame of, well, I let Sauron back in. She gets the ring. She has her conflict with Elrond and stuff like that. But I do think this is like a good setup for her to kind of like get past it in season 3. You know what I mean? Like, now she can kind of move forward and kind of grow in a different direction as a character. So I think it served its purpose of like, hey, let's close this loop with Sauron. Like, she's resisting him in the end. She's shutting him out, so she can kind of leave that shame behind her in a way. You know what I mean? And leave that guilt behind her, and now she can move forward. So I think it served its purpose in that way. And I thought it was cool, like having him kind of shapeshift a little bit, like having him turn into. It reminded me of Zelda a little bit, or Link, fighting Shadow Link a little bit.
He turned into Celebrimbor and then her.
Yeah, so he turned into her first, and then they fought a little bit, and then he turned into Celebrimbor. He turned into Halbrand before that.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah, I thought that was just a kind of a cool way to see kind of how Sauron's like, he's a shapeshifter, and he's just manipulating people. So I thought that was a cool fight, and I actually liked how he was fighting with the crown. That was like cool. It was an interesting way to
a parry and
right
block.
And like
but if you would have put it on, dude, it would have been game over.
Yeah, headbutt, dude.
No, like there's power within that crown, and he's not using it.
Well, I don't know.
He could have just Kamehameha her.
Is there power in the crown?
I don't know if it works that way.
Adar said he used it, and he used the power of that.
Or was that just like the metaphorical power?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's
Adar's like
the metaphorical
power in here. The orcs,
not to be confused with actual physical power.
It's literally his crown.
Yeah, but I know that they're saying like it's Morgoth's crown that was forged into, but I don't necessarily
Wait, what the heck?
Is it not like the rings?
So obvious. Wait, what?
Is it not like the rings where it has power like that?
I don't think so.
What the heck?
Maybe I missed it.
I was so like,
put that thing up. Put that thing on.
I know. I have to go look it up again, but I'm pretty sure Adar said something about it.
He does say something. In that one when he shows it to her. I think he does say like with the ring and this, we can destroy. But yeah,
I will say what it does is when
does
he stabs her, it does have almost the effect of like the
kind of like
blades.
the Morgul blades a little bit.
So
yeah.
So there is power.
Yeah.
Or it's just rusty.
I just don't know. Yeah.
It's just really
Tetanus,
rusty.
dude. You're gonna get locked.
Ron's like, hurry! I've got a shot here for her. What did you guys, as far as? Because here's my big complaint. Kind of a nitpick, but
you don't like women.
No, that's beside the point. No. In the episode before, Adar stabs
a 100%.
Arondir. And then I was like, oh man, I can't believe they actually killed him. That's crazy. And then he randomly shows up in the next episode and I was like, hold on a second. My player jumped and did a recap. So I was like, oh, did I miss something? Is this weird? So I went back to and I was like, no, he definitely got stabbed there.
Yeah.
I wish they would have done that better. It's your typical, in movies, this happens all the time where a character gets shot, and you think they're dead and then they're like, and it's shot up here or something and they survived. But I just feel like
they show evidence of that and then it makes sense for the watcher.
Yeah, but this one just was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they had a scene where they cut it out to that kind of
I
show
feel
a
like
little
there's
more.
a missing chunk.
Because it did feel like he was Adar stabs him and you think, oh, he gone. And then he shows up and he's like, hi guys. And you kind of see he's still got blood. But I'm like,
but he's not limping or anything.
Yeah.
He just strolls up.
Yeah. Just a flesh.
So that to me was the biggest thing that I was like, oh yeah, that could have been done better. But I'm not going to say, oh, it's a 2 out of 10 because of that. Because I'm like, whatever. But it did throw me off a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think because that was end of 7. So Crystal and I had the same conversation of did they kill Arondir? And I was like, there's no way he's dead. They're going to heal him. They're going to show us the rings can heal. Maybe the king was going to heal him or something like that.
Because that already happened in one of the
correct
episodes.
So that's what I was like, there's no way they kill him off. And yeah, sure enough, they didn't.
It'd probably be funny. The showrunner's watching the finale. He's like, did we cut the scene where we killed him?
Guys,
do really?
I think
He's
there's
like, yeah, you
some,
said so. He's like, no, I didn't say that one.
Some missing frames in that.
Listen, it was during the writer's strike,
Yeah, that's what happened.
They forgot. They're like, we can't have any writers to write the scene where he gets healed.
He was editing on his phone to not get in trouble.
He deleted one on accident.
He's like, whoops.
When you double delete one.
Deleted off of iMovie.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I do think some of the now we know Gandalf
Grandel.
and
Who would have thought it
Nori
was Gandalf, guys?
and Nori stuff. I especially in the last episode, I feel like that was kind of wrapped up a little too quickly because I felt like it was building up to this something a little more.
Did you want a bigger battle with that
Not necessarily
mercenary
battle.
/ dark wizard?
Not necessarily a battle, but I don't know. I just felt like it landed a little flat for me. Maybe it's because
I'm with you on
everyone
that.
knew that it was Gandalf kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was like, okay.
I was hoping for a more emotional end to that because it was just we're separating and they're just banking on, hey, they have this good relationship. Yeah. Aren't you sad that they're, breaking up or whatever you want to call it, separating? But it's
dumped.
Wouldn't it have been better if they had a little mini fight and maybe someone died? God forbid they kill someone and the loss to be really big and to, them to fight
Should have killed
for
Gandalf.
their little area that they were living in.
No one would.
But instead they had the dark wizard just be like, yo,
Yeah.
rocks. Gandalf's like,
Yeah.
all right, let me just hold him.
You know what they should have
That
done?
was lame, in my opinion.
You know what they should have done?
Talk to me.
Is he should have been like, that's my name. I'm Grandel. And then he gets killed. And you're like, oh my gosh, they just killed Grandalf.
Yeah.
And then
And another guy
shows up and he's like, hi, my name's Gandalf. And they're like, hey, no, perfect.
Yeah,
They're like, you thought it was Gandalf all along, but it's Grandalf.
Do we know who the other wizard is?
No.
They said it's, people were saying it's
not.
Saruman, but
They
they're
said-
like, it's not.
Yeah,
There's no way.
It's totally not.
The writer said it's not.
I think it's one of the blue wizards.
Yeah. And that's fine because he does
yeah,
say
I
there
think
was
so.
5 of us. So
Yeah.
they're still keeping that canon.
I feel like
there's
if
5 of
it's
them.
Maybe
if
he's a
it's,
red wizard.
Yeah.
I feel like if it's not Saruman, they have a lot more room to play.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
there's
the
so
writers
much
were like,
empty
it wouldn't make.
space.
They're like, it would break. He's like, it doesn't even make sense that would be Saruman.
That hasn't stopped him before.
True. True enough.
I think
True enough.
so. I was rooting hard for Blue Wizard.
Wizard and Tootin'.
I was rooting and tooting for it. And I think when they were like, he's like, I mean, I knew we were like, that's where they're headed,
Bro.
You know, that's where they're headed.
We all knew it was like 98% chance.
In my heart, I was like, I want it to be a Blue Wizard.
Yes.
So like when he said, that's what they're going to call me, Gandalf, I was like, okay, that's too bad. But then I was like pretty much over it.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I'm like, it ruined the show.
Oh, that's the funny thing for me is like I'm not disappointed at
Yeah.
that at all. I was like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like everything was obvious.
Right.
Right. Believe it or not, you don't have to subvert expectations in these shows all the
Yeah.
time. It's good to foreshadow, lead, and then follow through on story beats. Sure, it would have been cool to have a blank slate and kind of have this cool, like brand new, unwritten kind of person you could delve into.
Yeah.
Even name a Blue Wizard if you wanted to. That'd be kind of crazy, but like it was so obvious.
Yeah.
That I was okay with it too.
Yeah.
But it would have been cool. I was with you guys.
They should have kept going. Like they should have had one of the hobbits say Gandalf, and then the other one be like, "Oh, Hugh Lizard,"
Or some
and then like
And
they
it's
keep
like,
doing stuff like,
he's a Baruman.
and he's like, and
he's a
like,
Baru human.
he's like Hugh Lizard. Reminds me of something. Hugh Lizard, huh? And like just keep going.
Yeah.
Every season,
Rat in the
he's like-
grass.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then finally,
That rat is a gas.
yeah.
Like, that's is that my name?
His name's Toto Bagger. Maybe it's Frodo. You never know.
But I mean, now that they've made him Gandalf, I think it makes sense for the story. And I'm happy to be like, oh, let's see how you build out Gandalf and his story and his relationship with the halflings. Like it just makes sense that way that he has a backstory with them.
And he'll find the Shire for them.
Right.
Well, and I think too, like how we saw with Sauron in season 1, I think it was a really good decision to say, you know what, this is Sauron now, second season, we can just have fun with that character.
Right.
We all know who it is. I think that'll probably work the same way with Gandalf.
Yeah. I think it's going to be way better now that we get rid of the mystery box.
Yeah.
It felt like such a goofball ploy to be like, we're gonna hide this, but we all knew. And it was like, why are we wasting so much time on this? It's like I feel like they thought it would play off better than it did, especially for the Sauron.
Yeah, the Sauron.
The
one.
Gandalf one, in my opinion, was also pretty bad.
The
But
Halbrand one is unnecessary. Now that
just
seeing
how
season
long
2.
it went. Just how long it went. It went to the very last episode.
Yeah.
That's when the reveal was, right? That was
Well, I think so. I was reading something where they said the reason they did that is because they didn't have rights to do the Anatar stuff,
Oh, and then they
and
unlocked
so
them.
they got
they bought them?
got the rights to do more, and so then it was like now we can actually do him. So then they
Dude, if
decided to do that. I was like,
if they opened it with Anatar, dude,
yes,
Yeah.
so
which
much
that
better.
would have made so much more sense. So,
Oh my God.
So for me, that makes more sense now that
a
I'm like,
bummer.
okay, that makes sense that they were like. Okay, they had to do
Right.
the Halbrand thing to be like, oh, he's
Dude.
deceiving people. And then it was like, once they got more rights for season 2, they're like, oh, let's do this.
Yeah.
That's what I read, but I don't know if that's true, if that's just someone's
I
speculation.
think that being said, I think they did a pretty good job of making that transition to Anatar, like the best that they could have with
Yeah.
what they had.
It was a
already.
tough spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
because it did seem a little
what a
weird
bummer. Oh, it felt
to
like
be like at the end they're like, don't say anything about Halbrand, right? And then like to the other characters, and it's like now it's the giver of gifts and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, that would make sense at some point when in the writing of it, they're like, we're actually able to do it now.
Yeah,
so how
let's
can
go
we
back, bring him back?
How can we loop around what we did to then do it? Which I, like you said, I thought they handled it well for what they had already set up. But it was, I wish if I could go back in time, it's like if first season started like
could've-
that.
if they could have opened with that, it would have been so much stronger.
Yeah.
Because in this season, I think the strongest storyline, like Mick said, was the Celebrimbor and him together. That was awesome. That was the best part of the show. This season, for sure. Let's talk about the battle, because I'm interested to see your guys' opinions on this. Mine's kind of a mid. Like I felt mid about it. You know what I mean? Like there's some bads, there's some goods, but overall, when you compare it to other things like Peter Jackson's Helm's Deep battle, it's like not even close. Not even close.
Yeah. The problem is
there's a lot of issues.
The problem is, I think, for TV, and even though they're spending a lot of money on this, they were like the sets built. You would kind of see like 5 elves in armor being like shooting, and then
Scale was a big issue.
The scale was
huge issue.
On some moments, on some moments it looked like like when all the orcs are coming. I think they did a better job with the orcs than they did with the elves. So like with the orcs, it was kind of like in a wider shot. But then when they'd go into like the city, and you'd have like, okay, we need these elf people. Like let's have 10 civilians kind of running through, and then 5. It just felt like how it was filmed was like you could totally tell they were on a small set. And they're kind of like recycling.
Here's the
people.
problem, dude. How much money did they spend on it?
Well, yeah,
right.
I know.
When you look at that number, you're like, how did they not get at least one shot of a wall stacked full of just elven archers just defending the wall, looking dope in that way? Like, how are they not doing that? No,
inflation's crazy, bro.
We saw like
in this economy,
we saw like 6 of them. And I'm just like, that's pathetic. And when you're talking about these orcs running and stuff like that, nah, man, like they were really gapped. Like there's huge gaps in between each of them.
Yeah, but that's because Adar told them to
spread out, guys. The best shot that showed the scale of their army was the one at night when they're all next to those fireplaces,
and they light them up,
and you saw the reflection of their bodies and stuff, and you're like, oh, and then they like start gathering out from the darkness, towards the light, and you're like, oh. There's all legions of orcs. Yeah. Oh, this is their main combat party.
Yeah.
That was the best shot. And then it didn't deliver after that as far as scalability and showing legions of them. Like, I don't even, like, how are they not able to fill in background with like CGI, like filler orcs at this day and age? So you say that inflation's an issue, right? Jokingly, but also it is an issue. So those are actors, but like with CGI, it's like you can throw in models of orcs. Like, come on, like we can do better.
I mean, Disney does it on their show.
I think so. The other thing, though, when they did that in the first season, people were like, they did such a terrible job because they would like point out the same person over and over again. And so, I guess you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I agree with you.
I would much rather have scalability than
I think it was
stuff.
That was one of the things that, especially when you compare it to Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, you're like, it just felt not as epic or massive.
Yeah, I think especially with armies though, you can get away with it because everyone's wearing the same stuff.
Yep.
So it's not like you're like, oh, that guy's wearing a headband. You know what I mean? They're all like wearing the same armor, so you can spread them out.
Yeah, dude.
I thought the battle could have been cooler, I think.
Well, the storyline was weird.
The problem is that in my mind, I'm like, oh, I really wish the charge would have happened. Like, but they stopped it because they're basically like, well, we're changing it up because we don't want it to be the same thing as every other thing you've seen. You know what I mean? Helm's Deep, Battle of the Pelennor Fields. You know, you already have those moments. So then I'm like,
I mean, they did a charge.
Oh, okay. But like, you know what I mean? Part of me is like, I just want to see him run through and kill everybody. But then it's like, yeah, that is kind of derivative, and I've seen that a billion times. So like,
never gets old though.
But it's also Lord of the Rings.
Never gets old.
It is definitive Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but I do feel like it's the same thing. And people would complain and be like, well, they just copied the Return of the King.
Well, okay, so what do they do instead of?
Well, what do you mean?
Well, ride motorcycles.
Well, to show how grand and scary this army is, those big charges and you know the counter charges, those show that scalability by having a bunch of people with fast movement and stuff like that. So what else did they do that really showed you that it was a grand, epic battle? That's the thing I struggle with. Is they had the moment with like the siege engine, but the siege machine that they had. And this is their opportunity to kind of fill around to kind of show you how dense and how many dudes there are. And really, it's just very sparse. There's just a handful of orcs. And it's just kind of, I don't know. I was looking for that money shot of like, whoa, this is an overwhelming amount of orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I had. The other thing, I wanted to know how you guys felt about the big troll or mega orc. What is it, a troll?
Yeah, it is troll.
How'd you guys feel about the troll? And also the moment of the archer's little highlight, Miss, I don't know what her name is.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that whole sequence, how'd you guys feel about that?
I like the troll. I think what was missing was kind of like I feel like the killing blow was weird. Mm-hmm. It was shot strange. Like we didn't, like the king came through and like we had like 2 killing blows or whatever, but
I
like,
forgot how he died, honestly. I thought, I was like, even when you asked that, I was like, did they actually kill him? Is that another thing?
Elrond
He was laughing the whole time, weirdly.
Arondir shot him, and then Elrond knocked him over, and then the king came through and stabbed him. But when he came through, it's like they weren't focused on where he was hitting.
Right.
It was just kind of like
It's like they were hiding it.
So it was. I think practically it was like
Same movie.
he's CGI,
Yeah.
and they probably didn't get the shot they wanted, and they're like, yeah, he's dead now.
I do think one thing that would have helped the battle scenes is in the Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, you have kind of like epic moments. Like in every movie, Legolas does something sick, right? Where you're just like either it's riding on the shield,
Skateboarding,
or the Oliphant, or whatever. Like,
yeah, bro.
Even though like
Still only counts as one.
like that kind of stuff, I feel like this didn't have that. One of my biggest things was when I saw like scenes or images of what's the High King's name?
Gil-galad.
Gil-galad. You know, they always talk about him and his spear, right? Was like the big.
He was fighting with his spear.
Yes, but I do feel like there needed to be more of a focus on like something that stands out.
He needed a shish kebab like 7.
You know, just something that you see that when you see it, you're like, oh my gosh, like that was cool. Same thing with Elrond. Elrond, like a perfect example in Lord of the Rings. The first time you see it and you're watching and they're showing the battle for the ring, right?
Yeah.
And all the elves stand there and then they all come up and they all do the where they all flip their swords up and just like kill them all as they're coming.
Glaives.
Like that takes seriously like 5 seconds. It's a 5 to 7 second scene, but that's like you're like, oh my gosh, that was epic. This is
it's a refined move. You
Yes.
see elves, you see the elf culture and that refinement of
Yes.
how they wield it.
and I just feel like there needed to be a better moments for the main characters
Yeah,
to have something that stands out that'd be like, oh, that was sick.
I agree.
It just felt like muddled and just kind of generic,
They gave that highlight sniper move to this random archer.
so that you could be sad when she dies.
And what's the point of that?
No.
I didn't cry. I didn't even feel anything. I was like, nice shot, I guess. But
Well, it's those things.
she pelted like
It's
she
kind
got
of like
pelted more than freaking what's his face Boromir.
It's kind of I
That
do
was
feel
dude,
like
they're copying that.
it is kind of the trope in writing recently. Like this happened in The Acolyte too, where it's like, hey, we know we're gonna kill this character, so right before we kill them, let's have them have a moment.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It's so
you
short-sighted.
could have had someone have those moments with Elrond throughout the full season.
Yep.
But they don't. And then they like, oh, the episode before or a few minutes before, it's like, let's have them have a scene so that you feel bad. But it's like, it's not earned. Instead, you could have had somebody.
The closest they got to that
They should have killed Galadriel.
the class.
Yeah.
Why not, bro? Go for it. Oh wait. That's one of my issues too. But anyway, so yes, the closest they got to doing that well was with the elf
On the shelf.
the female elf with Celebrimbor.
Oh, yes.
Merdaniel.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the closest they got to it, where they invested a little bit of time,
Yeah.
not much, but she's a
And that
second-
was-
That moment
that
was
was
better.
better.
I
she's
love
a-
that moment.
She's a
Yes.
tertiary
When
character.
And she got yeeted.
But they've invested in her a little bit, and it wasn't over
Yes.
a ton of episodes. It was like two,
But it was just enough that
was
you
just enough
felt
where
like,
you're like,
sad, bad for
frick.
her. Yeah.
and you feel really bad for Celebrimbor too. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, he is like freaking out. He's really struggling with this illusion. He doesn't
Yeah.
know what's real. Blah blah blah.
And it's all been set up by Sauron, so it makes sense. And it makes you feel bad for her because you're like, she's been deceived.
And you understand Sauron, how smart he was when he had the blood. He's like, frick. You know? He's like, bye-bye, it's red.
You mean this blood?
Oh,
so
slight hue change, easy.
So
easy for a wizard.
Yes.
Easy for
And
a
that's
dark wizard.
that's a great way to explain the difference. Because you could have had moments with Elrond in that character. Because I think she goes with them initially.
Yeah, she's on
Part of the party.
Yeah.
But they don't really have any interaction. So I'm like, if you do that, then
it got cut.
You know, so you're right. I think that was just kind of McClunky, and you know they could have done better.
And
with
they have this sick troll where that assistant or orc is like, don't release him, he'll kill us all. And it's like, yeah, he took out like 1 or 2 dudes on his rampage up. He should have been going nutty.
I thought it was sweet though when he was using those dudes as a shield. That was sick.
That was cool. That was cool. But it was just not as fearsome and as brutal as I thought it would be. The way they played it up was like, he's going to take out half our freaking army. You're an idiot for wanting to do this. This is suicide for our army. And it actually wasn't. And it was really short-lived, and it really didn't amount to much.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is like, I think it was just missing like a
key heroic
moment at the end.
With
They kind of tried to give it to you, but it just the editing was strange. The editing was strange, and I did think it was sweet though. They're throwing those things up in the air and shooting them, and it was like exploding everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And that was like practical.
Yeah.
So that was like
that's cool.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I thought that. Yeah. I mean, I think the battle was kind of a mixed bag. There was some good stuff. There was some other stuff that kind of was like we already talked about.
What I really wanted to see was like a whole episode of the orcs trying to hit the rock off the cliff.
Yeah, they just keep
and they keep missing. Like they're dude perfect. They're just trying to get the shot. They keep doing the intro.
They've been practicing on other mountains and stuff.
This is the catapult to the rock shot. Take 800 and whatever.
And I'm not even ripping into them for that stuff too. Like I'm ignoring some of this. Like, hey, it's fantasy, it's fiction. Just, go along for the ride. It's a fun idea. Sure. Physics wise, it doesn't make any gosh dang sense. It dries it up instantly. Like, no, like, come on, guys. That's not how cliffs work, but it's fine. That's not on my list of big issues. Like, I'm okay to move past that and be like, all right, cool.
I did think that one tracking shot was pretty sweet at the beginning of this episode where the guy's shooting the arrow and you follow him and he jumps off the thing and he's like,
oh, that was cool. I was like, bro, don't get off the freaking roof. And then he got murdered. I was like, no, dude.
I mean, so I think there's
the high ground.
There was cool stuff in there.
For sure. And I think the back and forth between the battle and then Celebrimbor struggling with his stuff. And then, that was well done. The back and the forth between the different like stories of, wow, it's so peaceful outside. I'm just gonna ding,
just having a little coffee, bro.
And then they go shoom, back.
Yeah,
the whole place is in ruins. Fire, bombs. That was well done. I liked that. That was good. I enjoyed that, and that's why that episode is probably my favorite episode for the whole season. Despite, I guess later in the last episode, Galadriel fighting Sauron. You asked if I enjoyed that. I didn't as much because guess what? I knew the outcome. It takes away, right? No, but I know it sounds stupid.
You're like, you asked if I enjoyed it. Did I say it? Guess what? No, because I know the outcome.
Well,
rhetorical question, Jonah.
Do I think you're an idiot? Yes. Do I think I'm stupid? Yes, as well. You know what I mean? Like, I just struggle with these. Sometimes there's just it's tough to buy in and be invested in a fight like that where I know that the outcome's going to be fine,
It's the curse of prequels.
Yeah, and it's a common thing. It's just they put it at the end and they spent some time on it and I was like, it's a bummer because I just don't care that much about this fight, but it was fine.
The other one was the Adar. I wish he would have gotten a
bummer.
I really like that character. I wish we would have gotten more with him.
Character.
The killing him off, I guess I wasn't a fan of because I thought both actors, the one from season 1 and then this actor did a really good job. And his story to me is really compelling. Even as far as like what, because when he puts the ring on and he looks like good again, like he looks like an elf, like all that kind of stuff.
Whoa.
So I wanted to know a little bit more of that, and I thought his, interactions with the Uruk and with Galadriel and the whole history with Sauron was really interesting. So I was like, I wish there could have been more with that. I understand they're probably thinking, hey, we got more storylines we're gonna have to do in season 3.
Right, you don't need
Elendil, Isildur, all that kind of stuff. So I get it, but I was a little bummed. Even though I thought it was cool that he went out the same way they tried to kill Sauron. I thought that was kind of like
it rhymes.
Okay. I had one more thing.
Do I like it? No, let me tell you.
Maybe I'm just stupid, but maybe you guys can shed some light on this story beat. Okay. So let me just get this
the crown is powerful.
The orcs want to kill Sauron.
Yeah.
Right. The elves want to kill Sauron.
Yes.
And so they fought each other. Like the elves thought, let's not go into the town. Let's not try to get them to open the gate and let's go in there and kill Sauron. Instead, they were like, we're going to defend Sauron. Is there like something I'm missing? Like a piece
the orcs, you mean?
So
the elves don't know.
No. Yes. The Elrond knows with the elf army, right? They know.
Yeah, but they're trying to go in because the orcs are already attacking.
But they know
the
Sauron's
city.
in there.
Right, but what are they going to do? Be like, hey, orcs,
But then they
we'll
had
help you get Sauron.
well, they had that little meeting. They literally had a meeting to be like, yo, what are we doing here?
Yeah, but I don't know.
And there was such a weird meeting. Like that whole moment of like, hey, we got Galadriel.
But I don't think the orcs
gonna
are.
fight you.
I don't think the orcs are strictly going to kill Sauron. I think they're like, we want to destroy the city. We wanted to kill the elves.
But that was their goal, was to kill Sauron. They talked about that multiple times.
Yeah, but
then they also said they'd go through like anything that was in their way.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I just think they're like, we want to kill elves
It
anyways.
just felt weird and slightly stupid because it's like, okay, well, they both have the same goal, kind of, basically. They both want to eliminate Sauron. And so it's just kind of a weird, for me, it just felt strange. It's like, you guys are fighting for like, I mean, I get it. Yes. The Uruks would like to take over the city. Ultimately, that would be great. But Adar's goal was to take out Sauron.
Right.
And he was the head of the army. So I don't know. For me, it just felt weird. So there's nothing else to add. It's just.
I mean, I just don't know why. For one, same thing. Like, why would the elves trust the orcs? You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Like you're literally like lifelong enemies.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey guys,
No,
trust you?
It's more.
You better not back. You gonna backstab me?
It's
and they've already killed a bunch of people anyway.
It's more of the wise elves that are hundreds, thousands of years old who aren't thinking, maybe we should get into the city and address Sauron first instead of let's just fight the orcs straight up. I don't know. Just for me, it just felt like the elves would, be more well balanced and more, I don't know, wiser. I just thought that was an interest. I was just like, oh, interesting. It wasn't anything like breaking. I just thought it was like, oh, okay, that's fine. But yeah, how'd you guys feel about the moment of, the breaking down of Sauron's kind of facade and also just Celebrimbor going crazy, but then, the soldiers figuring it out and like, you know what I mean? Like that whole last moments of the interaction between Celebrimbor and Sauron. How'd you guys feel about that?
I liked it, and I liked
the nine rings.
I liked the shot of him getting killed. Mm-hmm. Like kind of the ode to what actually happens to him because he gets killed, but then like paraded around. Right? He gets put up on a flag.
They basically Sauron uses his body as a banner, basically.
Yeah. So I was wondering if they were going to do that. That would have been kind of sick. But I kind of like how he puts him on that spear and kind of like pushes him up, kind of ode to that. But I thought that was really good. Like Mick said, I think those two characters really made the show so enjoyable because a lot of the stuff was hinging on their performance. Like if it was a good actor and a bad actor, you wouldn't buy it. But both of them were so good. And kind of something that you said, Corey, is you don't have to I feel like in shows these days, it's like, let's keep a mystery, right? Let's keep it like vague. But people knew what was going to happen. Like you knew, but even though you knew what was going to happen, the fact that they were written so well and acted so well, even though nothing was a shocker or surprise, it was done so well that it was like, man, that's really good. Like, and you could buy both sides, like why he would be deceived and why he would do those things. All that kind of stuff really worked. So I just thought it was really good. My complaint is after he died, I do feel like there was a drop down for me as far as like that was really compelling and the other stuff wasn't as much, which not in a huge way, but I just think they did such a good job that it was like there was a drop down in quality for me. Like as far as the writing
and, or what?
No, I just think it wasn't like because they spent so much with their interactions. So then when you had the Galadriel and Sauron interactions, it wasn't, I don't know, it didn't feel as good just because they spent more time with it.
Well, the whole season is leading toward their end, and then you get that peak, and then it's like, oh, and there's a little bit of Galadriel stuff down here too. Like if they had last shot of the season, let's say, is dead, he gets the rings, boom. Like that would, I think, just editing wise, I think makes more sense if you end on that like climactic end to their relationship.
You didn't like the elf hurrah in the little sanctuary thing? That was
It's going to be Rivendell.
That was,
Post credit scene.
That's my other thing too. I feel like there wasn't a cliffhanger ending in this one that there was in the first season.
Are they in Rivendell?
Yeah, I think that's the implication.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So to me, I was waiting for, okay, there's going to be one more scene of something, like whether that's Sauron or I thought, oh, there's going to be a shot of Sauron forging the One Ring or something, or like starting to do that. And there wasn't. So I was a little kind of shocked.
He's like
about
starting a fire.
I think that
just because in the first season,
One Ring, that's probably the end of next season.
Yeah, probably.
Because they gotta introduce
nine
the
dudes.
nine
dudes.
Rings.
Nine homies.
The 9 homie rings.
I think you got kind of a cliff.
Well, they were literally on a cliff.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
wow.
with Elendil, with him trying to escape Numenor, that was kind of left unfinished, and even stuff with Isildur, same kind of thing. But
but I feel like there's normally like a shot that you're like, oh, this is the big tease that we're gonna do. In the first season, they teased the Balrog, right? Mm-hmm. And then they teased even Sauron, like with going to Mordor and Mount Doom, and he's like
Mount Doom.
Mount Doom, I said. So I do feel like
had it in the
there was like
background.
several things that they did that you're like, oh, okay, we're going there. And this one, they kind of had the thing with where Durin says, "My brother," and those things, but there wasn't like a shot.
Like, Elendil riding on a horse.
Yeah, something.
He's got Narsil.
I just feel like there needed to be something that will leave you. My perfect example
this guy's got Marvel brain, dude.
Perfect example
I'll tell you why. And you can tell me the example after. I think because season 1 they did that like cliffhanger of like, oh, he's going up to Mordor, and they didn't really follow up on that. Like
he like walked into Mordor and then he was like, I'm getting out of here.
Instead they're like, let's show what happened to him before.
Yeah.
So I think they were like, let's not lock ourselves into the first scene of the next season. You know what I mean? Like I think they're probably more like, but I'm with you.
But I do
think
feel like
fun to do.
When you're doing a like, for example, Lost. Like there's I can't remember what season it is. Maybe season 4.
We need to go back.
But yes, you spend the whole season thinking
that's season 3.
The whole season thinking that Jack is it's a flashback, and then Kate shows up and you're like,
And it's a flash
dude,
forward.
they got
Whoa.
off the island. He's like, we need to go back.
Spoiler
Like,
alert.
I just feel like that stuff leaves you talking, and so I just feel like there needed to be something to be like, oh my gosh, that shot was sick.
I remember
but it could be a nitpick.
Dude, I remember
It's
being
an
frustrated
nitpick
with that.
because
I was like, what?
Lost is a mystery box show, and we've already said that Rings of Power doesn't need to
I
be
know,
a mystery
but,
box show.
But I'm
you
not
wanted
saying
like
it's a mystery box.
to be continued moment, right?
That
Yes,
was the to be continued moment. They were like,
Elendil on a horse.
they were like,
with Narsil.
they were like, hey,
to be continued. Where's he going? What boat is he going to ride?
We're gonna start building Rivendell.
we've lost Eregion. We've lost Eregion,
No, the elves are gonna fight. Is what
and
they're
then
saying.
and then they're gonna
gonna
fight.
fight.
Construction workers everywhere were like, can't wait to see the shots of Rivendell being built. I know what you're saying, but I just felt
I'm
like
just saying, like, what would you want?
I don't know, something
Gandalf
with
reaching for a pointy hat and
Something-
then to
And
be
then-
continued.
And then the
said-
hat
yeah.
moves.
He said
something-
he wanted a ting
something with something with
flames of
Sauron.
Mordor.
Something with Sauron. You could even do a time jump. It doesn't have to be right at that moment, but be like go to black and then see something where Sauron's amassing forces, and you're like,
He's looking through a book and he's like, that guy looks like a good man who would like a ring.
And he was like, you know what? Maybe I should have put the crown on this whole time. And he's like, "Wah."
And then his eyes like,
yeah, light up like the Lich King,
yeah,
like Arthur.
exactly.
Or he's like, you start time jump, and then you see him on the throne and starts putting his gauntlets on. He's like, fine, I'll do it myself. You know. Marble brain. I just joked. It was a joke because you said
I
that.
know, but
Stop it.
I'm just saying, dude. I think Marvel brain is a real thing.
No,
dude.
I just think there's.
I think you've been infected by it.
No,
I love how you're turning this on him. That's
I think
hilarious.
there is a great way
really
to
good.
give you something else.
Oh,
that
he's like laying
gets
down,
you
he's like,
excited.
What's your mother's name?
There's something that's DC. There's something that they
know,
could have
that's the
done that
joke.
would get you excited for it. I felt the first season did that very
Hey,
well
man.
with multiple things. This one didn't do it as well.
I'm a sucker for cliffhangers and hooks. They're hooks. They're not cliffhangers. They're hooks. Story hooks. Something you get excited about. And so obviously these hooks weren't strong enough for you.
Even
and
if it
exciting
was
enough.
instead of
I
just
get that.
mentioning Durin's brother, you have a shot of all these dwarves. No, you have a shot of all
Hello?
You have a shot
Durin's
of all
brother
these.
here.
You have a shot of all these. All
the
these
brothers
dwarves.
put on a ring.
little
brother's going to be
king.
The brother put on a ring. Did.
Not on my watch.
You have a shot
during the
of
45th.
a shot of
I'm done in
all
the
these dwarves like getting rigged up for battle or
Yeah.
something, and then it goes and you're like,
Yeah.
some actor you recognize, Gerard Butler is playing the dwarf,
Yeah.
or Matt Damon, or Matthew McConaughey,
Yeah, yeah.
in
Matthew
dwarf.
McConaughey?
Kevin Hart.
Or Chris
Kevin
Hemsworth,
Hart.
who did a great job in Furiosa. You just give him a big, massive nose, same dude. He's like, all right,
Just put him on his knees and he's fine.
we're going to Erebor.
But going into season
great.
3,
That's
you're
great.
still excited. You're
Yeah,
still looking
absolutely.
forward.
But I was just when the credits rolled, I was like, I thought we would get like a money shot, if you will.
This is pretty consistent, though. Yeah, because this is the Spider-Man.
yeah,
all
give me that
over
money
again.
shot in the trailer.
I think they finished the Gandalf story good, like decently. I think they could have done a better job at the separation. I think that the Numenorians, I'm not a huge fan of the story for me. Like,
Yeah.
I think I needed to see more interesting stuff. Yeah, having the annoying guy come by and be like, we're taking the city, blah, blah, blah.
We built
But it's Isildur's little like love story thing with the woman.
Yeah, that was lame.
It's just pretty lame.
I like how she was straight up like, he was straight up like, hey, is there room for one more person? And her boyfriend was like, wait, what?
Her husband.
Huh? What was that? Wait,
Husband
what's he
or
talking about?
betrothed?
I know. I was
Husband or betrothed?
He
What's he
says
talking
like
about?
my husband.
Husband? Straight
Yeah.
up.
I thought
it was betrothed.
That is
my boy.
betrothed.
I was
That is
a little- I'm pretty
betrothed.
sure it was
I
betrothed.
was a little
my boy.
annoyed with it.
What?
I was because I was
Infidelity.
like, but well, I was
they're
just
not-
like,
they're
I
not
was just
official.
like,
I know. That's what he.
you
that's
haven't
what he
done.
considers it. Though.
You haven't laid the groundwork to do it.
They were there like a month, bro.
And the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
I'm like, I guess where it makes sense. I was like, yeah, he would kind of then just keep the ring for himself. The little selfish guy. So they're setting the
Selfish
thing
guy,
like, hey,
dude. What are you talking about?
Well, we all know how the story ends.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Well.
yeah,
Well,
yeah. He's like, yeah, I got room for one more. The husband's like,
Who's he talking about?
me?
I'm going to Numenor.
I'm going to Numenor.
Yeah, that was an awkward moment.
What do you guys? What do you guys give it for this season? What do you rate it? How many rings of power are you giving this?
Yeah, how many rings?
Are you getting the full 9? Are you getting the full 9?
Are we doing out of 9 or
out of 10? But I'm sure no one is going to give it a 10. No one's giving it a 10, so it's like you're giving it a full 9, or are you going to give it a,
Josh, what do you think? I think you probably had the more positive outlook, I think, about amongst all of us.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Is it getting 8 something?
It's getting a 8.7, I think.
Ooh.
Wow.
Like, there's stuff.
Almost 9 rings.
I can nitpick a lot of things.
Close.
There's some story beats that I wasn't a fan of, but overall, I really enjoyed it, and it only improved off season 1, so I'm excited to see where season 3 goes.
As long as those nitpicks that you do find annoying don't take you totally out of the story, I think it's passable. I feel like too quick in this day and age with social media and just people just socially pressuring each other to hate stuff. I feel like they're all like microscoped in, like, oh, rock hit cliff doesn't make sense.
What?
Yeah.
It blocked water instantly. That
I'm
doesn't
done
make any...
with the show.
Yeah. That's the thing where I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I get it. You guys are frustrated because it doesn't make sense perfectly with physics. But guess what, guys?
It's a freaking fantasy
Go
show.
look at some of your favorite movies. All of them don't make 100% sense with physics.
Yeah, they've all got
Sorry.
Marvel brain.
Yeah, Marvel brain.
Corey, what are you giving it?
I'm giving it like a 7.4,
7.4.
which is still really good. I actually enjoyed it. But yeah, I think that there's just some story beats and some relationships that need to be worked on for better payoffs. I need some more emotional payoffs for me to really like this. But yeah, that's where I'm at. 7.4.
Mick?
I'm gonna go 8-9.
Whoa.
8, 9.
Almost.
He didn't have the
Almost
He didn't have the heart.
full 9.
Because I think
That's cool.
I
a
think
crazy
Sauron and
Neat
Celebrimbor just push it over
Who does? Oh yeah, that
so well for me.
That scene.
I think just
back and
based
forth.
on them alone, they get the 8-9.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
8.5. 8.5.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Sweet.
We really enjoyed it.
And our goal is
Chills.
to
Chills.
talk about
Chills.
it as long as an episode is.
Yeah.
So we
right.
did a pretty good job.
Pretty good.
I mean, 2 episodes worth.
Yeah, let us know what
almost-
you thought in the
almost more.
comments anywhere you're seeing where we're putting this up. Whatever. Send us an email if you want to argue with us. Comment on the YouTube video that'll go up. We're gonna move on to the Penguin. We're just gonna discuss 2 episodes. Josh hasn't watched the third.
No spoilers.
Mick hasn't watched any.
Not watched it.
But we're just going to do kind of general,
quick.
just kind of what our thoughts are on the Penguin. I'll start.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell is absolutely amazing.
Wow.
The makeup,
Wow.
Wow,
Really good. He doesn't do his own makeup, just FYI.
the makeup is it doesn't even look like him.
It's crazy.
His little shuffle, how he walks, is like amazing.
Wow.
His acting is phenomenal, and this show is. I've seen people saying it's boring. I'm like, but even the dialogue and the conversations and how he's manipulating everything is absolutely amazing. I also really like whatever his name is. I just lost his name. But
Batman.
the
Vincent? No.
what's his name?
His buddy?
Yeah.
Not Victor.
Yeah,
It's Victor. It's Victor.
It's Victor.
Yeah.
Hey, Vic.
He's awesome. His
really good.
little
His
stutter
stutter.
that he does when he's nervous. Everything in this
Very
show
good, yeah.
is really good. I like the look of it. I like how it's kind of building just this universe, more of the like gangster stuff. I'm loving this show. I think it's really good.
He's loving it.
And so far so good. And Colin Farrell is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, Colin Farrell's really good.
Wow,
and
yeah.
then even Carmine's daughter.
yeah, the daughter.
She's super good. Like she gives
Dude,
you
her
like
eyes.
her
eyes are
she's
so
like doesn't
good for
blink.
her character.
So yeah, just like even the scenes where they're talking, all
like-
that stuff's really good. I
Scenes
did.
where they're talking, every scene is where they're talking.
That's true. That's all they do in this show. But no, yeah, I think I really enjoy this show. I think the writing's good, the dialogue's really good.
Yeah.
And Colin Farrell. That's an Irish man speaking in a Brooklyn Queens
Yeah.
accent.
Yeah.
And then he speaks Spanish on top of that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And he walks like a
on?
penguin, bro.
Vigilala.
Dude, do you see it?
Vigilala. I was like, yeah,
Dude,
baby.
they showed his feet. I was like, no wonder he
Yeah,
freaking
dude,
walks
yeah,
like
that
a
was
penguin.
sick.
Dude, he got a mangle, dog.
Yeah.
He got tentacles down there, dude. His foot looks like Tangela, the Pokemon. Look it up.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah, this show sucks. This is not a superhero show. This is not nerdy. No, I'm just joking. It's like exactly what we were sold on.
Yeah.
We were said it's going to be the down to earth type Batman show.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a TV show centered around the Penguin. So gangster vibes, survival at its fittest. You know what I mean? Like at its best. They do a really good job at showing what it takes to survive in this world of Gotham in the mob boss family. Like it's backstabby, framing. You know, you can't be the guy who's going to be the scapegoat. Like, cool. It's very cool. I'm not, you know, it's not a Batman show, but it is Penguin. You know what I mean? Like, maybe at the end we'll see Batman or something happen. That would be cool, but like, it doesn't need it. It's its own beast. It's, I told Brie, I was like, it's just like a gangster drama.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best that I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, it's really good.
So for me, maybe I was expecting a little bit more extreme things, but it's more of a real version. So
Yeah,
for me, it's really good.
What I've really liked
Really
is
good.
how even the way he gets out of things and how he's manipulating both families and kind of like playing both sides and doing that kind of stuff actually really fits. It's interesting and it makes sense how he's doing it, like whether he's bribing people or manipulating certain things.
Or getting lucky.
Or yes,
You know
I
what I
like.
mean? And then playing it off instantly. Like you
Yeah.
can see how witty he is.
Yeah,
His acting, the lines are so well written for him. The story beats are really
Yeah.
good. Victor is a cool addition also.
yeah, like
He could easily be a bad, like something that brings it down.
Yeah.
You know, he's a shining little star.
I love when they're driving up to the house and he's like, "Hey, they might kill us." And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Hey, see your heart beating? Yeah, that's good. You got to that's good stuff, huh? You got to stay alive."
It is good, man. And I love some of those. We don't want to go too much into it, but like their connections.
Yeah.
yeah,
They're slowly building it on very foundational moments that kind of staple like what he was, what he's turning into, and what he's going to be.
yeah.
I love that.
Well,
and the Penguin's doing that too.
Even the whole thing with his temper, and like no spoilers, but his temper gets him into a situation.
Does he turn green and get big?
Yeah.
But you see that like, oh,
puts
he's
a
losing
monocle
it. He's a psycho. But they also have the moments with his mom, and this whole juxtaposition of like, this guy's not a good guy, but then you also feel bad for him at certain times where you're like, man, he's using everything. That stuff is really well done. The thing that you were saying about like how he gets lucky on certain things, the nice thing is even when you get kind of like surprised. So there's the one scene in episode 2 where they're looking for someone that killed somebody and he's got the knife. And I was like, oh, he's going to put it in that guy. And he didn't put it with that guy. He puts it with the other guy. Like that all just really was like, caught me off guard. It surprised me because I wasn't expecting it. But I was like, that's really cool.
Good example of subverting your
Yes.
short-term
Right. Like,
expectations.
oh, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, oh, easy. And they're like, oh, he went the other way. And so that kind of stuff is just really well done. So I'm really enjoying it. I think
that's
so
really good.
far it's been really good. And
Yeah.
episode 3
For
was
like
also really good.
For a gangster drama, it's really,
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. The stuff with his mom, I think is really good too. She's a good actress. Reminds me of how mom
my
used to talk to us, you know?
What?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Why are you keeping
And
stuff from me?
She used to call Jim
Yeah.
And I remember your feet being that way too, and how we'd call you Penguin.
And you bring shame to her so much
that's
based
right,
on the
that's right.
decisions you make today. Yeah.
So yeah, if you're checking out the show, let us know what you thought. We'll be covering it on the Nerd Age podcast.
And if you're on the fence on whether or not to watch it, I think if you do enjoy those dramas, especially like a gangster type, you know, not thugs,
mob
but
story.
like mobster kind of stories, really good, really
It's
good.
really good. We got a little bit of news that we're going to cover before we head out.
Sure.
We got James Gunn officially gave the casting news of the names of them for the Green Lanterns.
Oh, Kyle Chandler.
Kyle Chandler,
Coach?
which from we all know him from that Daily Mail, that show,
What was that
the
movie
show where
called?
he would get
Show
the
called?
newspaper and it would show him stuff.
Oh my
This
god!
is an Aunt Libby show, dude.
We talked about this on the
was that
podcast.
Wait,
It was called
what?
like Daily Mail or something like that.
Oh my
Daily
gosh.
Paper, I think it was
Oh
called.
my! Yeah, dude, we've had this conversation.
I mean, he's best known for that show. But then, what was the other actor that's going to play?
The other actor is
Because he's going to play Hal Jordan,
he's.
which he seems a little old for Hal Jordan, but
Kyle Chandler's playing Hal Jordan,
that's what I said. He seems a little old to play Hal
yeah.
Jordan.
and then the other guy's Aaron Pierre. So he was just in a Netflix movie.
it's called Early Edition. That's what,
Early edition.
yeah, daily paper.
Daily Paper,
Dude,
Save World.
dude, this is so sick. Man,
Yeah, Mick and I were kind of talking about that a little earlier. That it's like seems kind of they're going for the older Hal Jordan, which makes it like kind of a bummer, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
But
And Guy Gardner is
That's Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion. I just feel like
yeah,
the Green Lantern Corps for me isn't jiving right now. I need to.
I love Kyle Chandler.
I love.
I love it.
Yeah, but not as Hal Jordan.
As an older Hal Jordan, why
Oh,
not?
this guy. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
dude.
guy is classic.
It's
Late
also-
90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, but that's not Hal Jordan to me.
This is Kyle Chandler.
Where's
baby.
Ryan Reynolds?
Well,
I think the guy that they
Right.
cast for Jon Stewart.
Stewart
he
looks-
looks just like Jon Stewart.
I don't think this guy is a strong enough actor.
You take it back.
I
dude.
don't think he is either.
Kyle Chandler's a great actor.
Well, for whatever.
I mean, Friday Night Lights. You can only play this coach.
no, he's great in Bloodline. You
King
ever watch that
Kong.
show?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a terrible actor. in
King Kong.
As like
ever
he's
heard
a
of
jerk.
it?
He's good. You ever watch Bloodline?
No,
Oh, well,
is it a TV show?
yeah, it's a Netflix show, and it has
One show that he's good at. He obviously did good on Early Edition. That thing got
he's
canceled
great
after
in
like
Early
2
Edition.
seasons.
Dude, they made 4 seasons, 100 episodes of that show.
really?
Can you believe that?
yeah, and he acts his off in every single one. Dude.
How many, what are the daytime awards?
Daytime Emmys, dude.
Emmys.
Emmys, yeah.
How many Emmys did he make?
Was he on My Children?
People were just upset.
hospital?
They're
Oh,
like,
everyone
I'm going
was
up
in
against
general.
Kyle Chandler again. I'm not.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm not convinced he's going to be a good Hal Jordan, but whatever.
I don't know, dude.
I'm not gonna sit here and
I don't
have
know
you
the guy.
besmirch the name of Coach.
Oh, he's making a stand. Nice.
This is also James Gunn show, so
Yeah, so auto bias. Auto bias.
Yeah.
For good reason. But
I don't know.
also what bums me out is that
but
they
if it doesn't do
canceled-
good, it's not his show.
yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? He's out.
They canceled what?
The Arkham show that they were doing in the Matt Reeves, and they're
Yeah.
like, well, maybe we'll put it in the James Gunn universe.
I'm like, no, thanks. If Matt Reeves isn't doing it, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And the Penguin is a perfect example. Like if they would have done an Arkham show, because this fits perfectly with the fact that she was in Arkham,
Yeah, they've
and
already
she's
showed
out,
Arkham
and they've
scenes.
done that kind of like, oh, you think you wouldn't be able to do a show that's like written this well with characters that you're going to figure out, oh, they're going to eventually become supervillains. Like that was a no-brainer. And then James Gunn comes in and is like, hey, I'm going to do my own thing. You know what? I'm going to do another Suicide Squad. Creature Commandos. Get out of here.
Oh, you think Pattinson would want to be my Batman?
How about Peacemaker season 2 instead of the Arkham show? Get out of here. Boo.
I hate it.
But yeah, I do
Oh,
think,
man.
yeah, we'll see what the casting is. I still, people are coming out and saying like, oh, we're hearing that the Superman movie is really good. We'll see. I feel like
I
they're
hope
setting
so.
up a ton.
I hope it's awesome.
The guy that wrote Deadpool, the comic creator.
Oh,
Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, he was like, I'm hearing really good things
Nice
about
man.
the
I'm
new
gonna take
Superman.
that guy's word for it.
I know.
way to go, Mick.
Same.
I'm not gonna care about anything until Tom Cruise talks about it.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when Tom
Yeah.
Cruise is like,
The
I need
Flash.
to screen this at my house.
I'm pretty sure he
Flash
said
is the
Joker
best
2 was
movie
amazing.
of all time.
Tom Cruise said Joker 2 was amazing, so I'm taking
Tom
his word
Cruise
for it.
is a Scientologist.
Well, so is Diddy.
No way.
No, I'm just kidding.
I was like,
Will Smith is, though.
a is he? How do you lose his cool then? Scientologists are well trained individuals. I went on a YouTube video stint of figuring out what Scientology is all about. Whoa. Whoa. Crazy. Talk about fiction.
Fan fiction.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's it. Any other news you guys want to talk about? Anything else?
Nintendo is releasing the Switch 2. Wait, no, not that.
Alarmo, baby.
An Alarmo.
Yeah, first in line.
$100 alarm clock that has some motion sensors. If you get up before the alarm goes off, it won't do the alarm. Wow, isn't
There
that
you go.
nice?
Also,
That's pretty
if you
convenient.
stay
Yeah,
in
do you know
bed,
what that sucks,
it's-
though?
The music gets more intense.
Do you know what that sucks though?
My phone does that already.
Do you know how that sucks though? Because our dog sleeps in our room. So if our dog gets up and goes out of the room, it's like, oh, there's movement. No alarm clock.
Late for work.
And then how do you say to your boss? Hey, my
true.
dog got up, turned off my alarm.
My Alarmo.
My Alarmo bot. My $100
This is
alarm clock.
This is what makes Nintendo great, dude. You can never predict it.
That's
right.
not what makes a lot.
Everyone's like,
And this is going to be a be a tie-in into the Switch 2. Little do you know that once you buy that, you can connect it to the Switch 2 and play video games with it. It's on time you. Speed runs,
They're
baby.
Switch 2. We're going to have a motion sensor. You just get the Alarmo, you put it on top of your TV, and it'll sense your movement. Perfect.
There you go. And it'll
Just
talk
like
to you.
Xbox 360 or Xbox One.
They're ahead of the game.
Sony could never.
Ahead.
Xbox could never.
Ahead of the
They
game.
just released an alarm clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Ahead of
That
the game.
ahead?
It's
Ahead of the
sick,
game.
dude.
It's
It's
so
behind.
it's so out of the box
That
that,
they went
people are going to be
retro.
like, "What the heck?" Xbox and PS and Sony, Xbox, Microsoft and Sony. You're going to see that a year from now. They're going to be like, "Oh, look at our watch, our
It's a
alarm clock.
box.
It's
Watch
a
is fine.
box."
It's a box watch. What other news was there? Sorry. That was
That
just
was it.
just a funny one.
Yeah, we're ending with the. Well, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay.
We're ending on a high note.
That's right.
Nintendo Alarmo, baby. Look at the video.
That's
it's great.
really the only news we have.
I haven't been paying. I've been
Okay.
so busy. I haven't been paying attention.
I know
guys.
that Diablo 4's expansion came out yesterday. That's cool. I haven't played it, but I figured these guys would play it.
Me neither.
Josh. Okay.
We need to get that.
But yeah, I don't know what else is going on.
The new Mario Party comes out next week.
Oh, really? There's a new one?
Zelda game is pretty.
Oh, yeah. You said you'd beat it. Have you
I haven't
beat
beaten it yet. No,
Oh,
no, I'm just on Dungeon 2. It's
okay.
pretty fun. Can ride a horse, just sick.
Have you climbed up into the heavens yet?
Nope, not yet.
You need to do that.
No. But I've already got my little shadow link that I can use. And it's fun. It's fun. It's a fun game. Anyways,
Love it.
that's going to do it for the Nerd Age Podcast. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. You can find us on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. And we'll be back next week with more of the Nerd Age. Thanks so much. See you later.
See ya. Bye.
Yeah.